and welcome to Read This Now, the weekly webcast where Brad, Gustafson, and I share two books that we love and that we think you should read when, Brad.
Right now, people.
Do
Hashtag
it.
read this now.
How are you, my friend?
Doing great. It's good to be back at school in the office, although it's just for an emergency pop-in. Our team is accessing classrooms for some a quick strike to get stuff.
Sure.
And I'm just here to support with with my door shut and my mask ready. So, but things are good. We're just trying to stay safe. How about you?
Exactly the same here. Just hanging out, staying safe, trying to not go crazy in our houses, getting outside as much as we can.
Mhm.
Noticing you've been doing a lot of fishing recently.
Yes, I've combined my my love for research. Whenever
Yeah.
I like something, I just go all in and will research, everything from equipment to technique.
Sure.
And fishing is one of those things. So last night I went fishing, but beforehand I was like checking some YouTube videos on spinnerbait research. And sure enough, boy, that was a great video I watched because I applied some of the techniques and had my best fishing night yet. So
Yay! I love it, and I know how competitive you are. So I'm guessing there's like a big scoreboard in your house where you all keep track of the number of fish you catch.
yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. This is one of those rare things in my life where it's less about competition. It feels weird to even say that out loud. Like, where did
I
Brad
know.
go? But it's so Deb and I, my wife and I, fish together, and it's so cool just to do it with her. So
Yeah.
it's fun when she's successful and I'm successful. So we always kind of look at it as long as we each catch a fish, we feel amazing.
Yep. I love it. I
And if
love
I
that.
catch 10 more, so be it. No, just kidding.
Right. I mean,
I
who
just threw
counts?
that in there for effect.
I love it so much. So tell me what you read this week.
Okay. So a friend of mine, this is a really interesting story, and I won't tell the whole thing, but the first kind of time I ever tried being an author, aside from my blog many years ago, it was co-writing a book with someone named Jason Bretzmann. And he recently came out, and yeah, that was a professional book, but he recently came out with a kid's book, and I was really excited to see that side of him because obviously I've read his professional stuff. Has a lot of expertise on flipped learning and stuff. So he mailed this book to me, and it's called Dotz Goes to Camp, and it has a little bit of kind of an author art. Sorry, I said that wrong. Can't talk right now. Arthur feel, that kind of that cartoon animal, and then
Mm-hmm.
the style of art. It's really interesting. It's kind of vivid and it pops, very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable and easy to look at, kind of like a cross between Berenstain Bears and Arthur. But anyway, I was reading this, and it seems like it's perfectly set up to be a series, although I don't know if that's his intent or not, but it has that appeal where you want to get to know the characters more and more. And this is about Dotz, who goes to soccer camp, and basically I could picture, and the reason I'm recommending this for probably preschool and kindergartners is I could literally picture myself, although we're distant learning without kids, or at least, my older kids at home, fourth grade, middle school. I could picture reading it at our school to like our Bright Start preschoolers and kindergartners, and just like them kind of whatever, cuddling up and waiting on every
Yeah.
decision that Dotz makes. And when the coach, there's one part in here where Dotz gets a little bit silly and isn't listening. And these are things that are important to teach, preschoolers, right? Like how to
Sure.
learn and get along together. And in full disclosure, so one of my middle school daughters was looking at this, and it wasn't she wasn't super excited by the plot, and I'm like, well, honey, you're in middle school. This was not, I mean, look at this. This was not written for you. It was written,
Mm-hmm.
I think, for like preschoolers and kindergartners who would probably fall in love with the conversation and really reflect about how
Sure.
their decisions make a difference in the community and things like that. I think my kids are used to, a lot of times I book talk books that they would love, but this would be one I would have read to them there several years ago. So
Yeah.
with that target age range in mind, I would definitely recommend that some of your emergent readers and youngest learners that you check this out and let us know what you think. Jason Bretzmann is the author. It's called Dotz Goes to Camp, and it happens to be a soccer camp, in case you couldn't
Did
tell.
he also illustrate it?
No, it's illustrated. Thanks for asking. Illustrated by Melanie Davis.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I
Well,
haven't talked, I'm excited to talk to Jason about this, but I was over analyzing. I tend to do that every once in a while, but I was looking at the art and
yeah.
I would love to hear about the collaboration he had with the illustrator because I think there are some hidden Easter eggs for his own kids. Like I tried
Oh,
to look and see if they did that on every page. I don't know if you can see that or
yeah.
not. Like on the bookshelf, his kid,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
noticed his kid's name. So I'm curious how much of these rooms and spaces and toys and posters are personalized all the way to like the backyard set, looking out this window.
Yeah.
It just had me thinking, it has a cool personal feel.
That's neat. I love that kind of stuff to see
Yeah.
the choices that a creator makes and the way that they send those little love letters to people in there that really only they recognize unless someone points it out to them. I love that. Well, people who watch this show know that we don't ever plan it, which is obvious. But this week is a coincidence because I too have a picture book to share this week.
Really nice.
I do, yes. Brad, you and I had a conversation off camera last week where I told you I was reading a book that was unlike any other book I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to talk that book today, but I'm saving it. I will do it at some point. But that book is written by Elana K. Arnold, and it's a book for young adults, like for high school kids, really. And so I've been sort of fascinated when I looked her up to realize, in addition to this incredible young adult book that she wrote, that she's also written picture books and books for middle grades and just like all over the place. So I became sort of like you said, you go down these rabbit holes of research. Well, that's what I did this week. I'm like intent on reading everything Elana K. Arnold has ever written, right? Like that's my
See, Jen,
goal.
once again, you've out-literacied me. Here I am researching fishing, and of course, you're hitting the books and researching authors, and
Oh,
you're carrying us again, Jen.
no, not at all. I research lots of other crazy things too. But at any rate, so I was picking up some of her other books and I discovered that she had a picture book that came out this year. And I'm just going to tell you right now, a lot of competition for it. Might be my favorite picture book of 2020. It's
Wow.
incredible. And I've already said that about two other picture books this year. So it's been a good year for picture books for me. And this is just another one. And I can't wait to share it with you
And
all.
that, when you say that, that speaks volumes because here's what I've noticed, and I could be totally off base, but I love almost everything I read, and it somehow most of it makes it in the top 10, although my top 5 list is very serious. You are
Ah,
very discerning, and when you say like contender for best book of the year or whatever you
yeah.
just said, like the LaGarde seal of approval is legit.
I don't just dole that stuff out like candy, y'all. I am very,
Oh, that's great.
I love it. But it's interesting to me because, her YA book that I've read that came out this year, and then her picture book that I've read that came out this year. I'm like, I think I may have two books by Elana K. Arnold in my top books of the year, which is pretty extraordinary. I'm sure she's just thrilled to know that that might be the case. That I'm guessing there's some other literary prizes that are more important to authors than my endorsement. But I'm real excited about her work right now. And so I want to share this book. It's one of these picture books, though, that I don't know how to book talk without giving them some spoilers away. So if you're watching this and you don't want any spoilers, it's time to go ahead and end this video. But it's called An Ordinary Day, and it's by Elana K. Arnold, and the illustrator is Elizabeth Vukovic, I think is how you say it. And as we always do, to pay homage to our friend John Shu, I'm going to take off the dust jacket to reveal that the cover is actually exactly the same. I have looked at the cover over and over again. The only thing I like to point out is I love the crow placement on the book, on the UPC code on the back, on the barcode. I think that's clever placement. But essentially, the story is just about a neighborhood. It starts off with these two kids playing outside in their neighborhood, and their neighborhood crow is out there squawking, commenting on everything that's happening. And a few pages in, two cars drive up. One car, a gentleman gets out and goes into the house on the left, and another car, a lady gets out and she goes into the house on the right. And then we get a glimpse of what's happening in both of those houses on this very ordinary day. The people outside don't pay much attention to these cars, but then we see that two very different things and yet two very similar things are happening. I'm going to read these 2 pages to you. Each visitor unstrung a stethoscope. Each visitor listened to a heartbeat. Each visitor looked up and spoke the same words, "She is ready." And we see that in one house, the visitor is a vet checking the heartbeat of a dog who seems to be reaching the end of its life. And in the other house, the visitor is a midwife who's checking the heartbeat of a baby who's about to be born. And in the next pages, we see that similar things happen. The dog is put to sleep while the baby is being born. And then we see a spread after that that says, in the house on the right, a first breath was inhaled, surrounded by a family and love. And we see the family there. And on the other page, it says, in the house on the left, a final breath was exhaled, surrounded by a family and love. You see the family there with the dog. One family saying hello, one family saying goodbye. And in the final page, which I just love so, so much, it reads, "It was an ordinary day in the neighborhood. It was an extraordinary day in the neighborhood, like all days and all neighborhoods everywhere." And then here's this beautiful spread of the neighborhood.
Wow. Hey,
And
Jen, that sounds really powerful. Is the cadence of the book a little bit roller coastery where you're on highs and lows and they blend together, or was that just the 2 pages you featured?
To me, the cadence of the book actually is very almost natural, like a heartbeat. I found the illustrations and the way that the book was cadenced to be very comforting. I didn't feel like I'm taking out pictures of it, brief snapshots, which is why it may have seemed like a high and a low, but really, as you read the book all together, what you feel is family and connection and love throughout the whole thing. And so 2 very different events, and yet similar in so much as they connect a family to a life moment that's really all about love. Because even though they're saying goodbye to the dog, they clearly love the dog. They're saying hello to the baby. They clearly love the baby.
So just from your book talk, tell me if I'm picking up on this right. I feel very comfortable, grounded, and authentic. Is that the vibe of the book?
So beautifully done. And I don't know if maybe it's because it's come out. I mean, obviously, we know about publishing that this book has come out this month in 2020. So that means it was written at least a year ago and illustrated over time. So the writer and illustrator here had no idea about people being stuck in their homes and having to experience things in their homes that they might not experience there. And yet it's like this book is just such a perfect antidote kind of to the anxiety that feeling isolated in your home can bring. So it's like these two families are in their individual homes, but they're really connected by these life experiences. So it's really extraordinary, beautifully done. I mean, I could just see the rich conversations you could have with kids about either event or just about how to go all Lion King on us, the circle of life.
Wow, fantastic. Timely.
So I just want to repeat the name just in case for people who might have missed it. An Ordinary Day by Elana K. Arnold and illustrated by Elizabeth Vukovic. So
then I want to repeat mine just because it seems like what the pros do. Jason Bretzmann, Melanie Davis, Dotz goes to camp.
So silly. All right, y'all. So Brad, if folks want to check out our list of books that we've been curating over the years, along with watching all of our videos, because why wouldn't they? Where can they go?
Exactly. I was wondering the same thing. No, bit.ly/read_this_now.
Boom. Thank you all. And have a great week, everyone. Happy reading.
Thanks for sharing, Jen. Great to connect.